Brewbird. In this video, I'll take you inside my work as a distillery consultant in India. Let's go! I arrived from Vancouver, Canada to New Delhi, and then it was about a 5-hour car ride to Himachal Pradesh, where the distillery is located. This was a really fun distillery to go to as everything was brand new and they were still developing their processes. My client actually hired a professional videographer to film my time at their distillery, so I had a lot of fun being interviewed and filmed. This is actually my second trip to India. The first consultation I did was in Bhubaneswar, so if you haven't seen those videos, you can check them out above. Most of my time as a consultant is spent developing different recipes for the distilleries. Before I arrived, I asked my client to prepare a variety of botanicals that can be used for their gin. And gin botanicals are plants or a part of a plant that's valued for its flavor or its scent. Common gin botanicals are juniper berries, which are mandatory for it to be called a gin. Other common ones are coriander seeds and citrus peel like orange or lemon. I like to make gins that represent the place where they're made, so I ask that they provide me with special plants, fruits, or herbs that they can find only in India or are special to that region. Then I assess all the botanicals and I just come up with some recipes. Here I'm measuring and macerating the ingredients in 40% alcohol overnight, and then I'll distill those the next day. I had a lot of assistance here, so it was easy to get a lot done in a relatively short amount of time. For this consultation, I made 8 unique gin recipes, and after 2 rounds of blind tastings, I came up with a few variations of the top 2 recipes, and during the 3rd blind tasting, we picked the best recipe that the distillery decided to move forward with. Making whiskey, it's not really about the recipe like it is for gin. It's about developing the best process for it. So some things to keep in mind for whiskey are what substrate or starch source material we're going to use is. And in this case, they had malted barley, and they also had a mill and a conveyor system so they could mill everything on site. I'll tell you that I really earned my consultation fee when it came to making the whiskey. We had so many issues with this process. For this consultation, the distillery had 5,000 liter fermenters and stills. So I was working with some relatively big pieces of equipment. They had hired brewers from a brewery in New Delhi to make up the wash, which in this case is basically a really terrible tasting beer made with 100% malted barley. The interesting thing they did here was that they did an on-the-grain fermentation. So they left all the grain with the beer. And usually when you're brewing beer, you'll separate the solids and the liquids out. So it's unusual to keep them together during the fermentation and distillation. So after that fermented, we put the 5,000 liters of wash into the still and we started the distillation process. They had a special type of still called an iStill, which relies on temperature sensors to make the cuts during the collection of distillate. I knew something was going very wrong because the distillation was all over in about 20 minutes, and really a distillation like that should take several hours. They told me that they set up the still correctly and I took them at their word, and I found out that the still was in fact not assembled correctly. They didn't do a lot of things like putting the metal coils into the column of the still, and also the temperature sensors were placed in the wrong spots in the still, so it was taking totally incorrect readings. So we had to disassemble the top part of the still, clean it and put it all back together again. Yeah, so how I figured out something was really wrong is when I was sitting in the office and I heard what seemed to be a very big bang or explosion, and I came out and it turned out the lid of the still had just exploded open basically because so much pressure had built up inside the still, and that pressure built up because the still was not assembled correctly. And luckily there was no permanent damage to the still, which was new. I felt super stressed trying to figure out why the still was not operating correctly initially. And so yes, we just found out that it hadn't been set up correctly, the temperature sensors were not in the right position, and the column of the still had not been packed with these metal coils like it was supposed to be packed with. I also did some experimentation with developing a vodka process for them, and for this project I did some small-scale tests making vodka from NGS, or otherwise known as neutral grain spirit, which has been purchased from a refinery at 95% ABV. I also tried making vodka from rice, so I cooked the rice in a pot and we purchased some enzymes to break it down and to liquefy the mixture, and then we fermented it and then distilled it. They were looking for a very smooth and neutral tasting spirit, so they preferred the vodka with the NGS that had been filtered several times through activated charcoal for extra purity than the ferments I did with the rice and wheat. I also did some small-scale rum fermentations and distillations. They wanted to make a rum with Jaggery, so I did some different tests on the small still with Jaggery. When we did this in the big fermenter, the big solid pieces of Jaggery had trouble fully dissolving in the water, so they had to hit the pieces of Jaggery to break them apart so they could dissolve more easily. And what happened was someone accidentally hit their foot and got injured during the process. So they ended up finding a more refined form of Jaggery in like a granulated form to use, which is better for the safety of the workers and just makes production simpler as well. I also played around with some spiced rum recipes, and we got to scale the spiced rum recipe up onto the big still, and we used this big extraction unit which did not come with an instruction manual. So we had to figure out how to hook this extraction unit up to the big still to use it. Usually my clients like me to just play around with whatever ingredients they have. So I just made a bunch of different liqueurs for them to taste, like a limoncello with Indian lemon and an aniseed or fennel seed style liqueur, which I find Indian people really enjoy, because I noticed after meal times they like to eat dried fennel seeds that are in a colored sugar coating as a mouth freshener, the same way we have after meal mints here in the West. During my time at the distillery, I keep a detailed record of all the things that I've done during my visit and all the errors and problems that we've had, all the experimentation and recipes that I've worked on. And so my final task while I'm there is to compile all the information into an easy to read report, and I submit it to my client before I leave. So for a distilling consultation, my rates are usually charged based on the project. So for this 2-week trip, I charged $10,000 USD and had them pay for my flights from Vancouver to India, my food, accommodation, and the living expenses while I'm there. I hope you enjoyed learning what I do in my work as a distillery consultant. A lot of it is developing recipes, processes, and troubleshooting issues inside the distillery. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe for more content about fermentation, brewing, and distilling. This is Brewbird, sending good vibes your way. I'll see you next time.